What we're doing here today is replacing the inner tie rod on a Chrysler 200. Purchased a new tie rod here. You'll need a removal and installation tool. You can usually get one of them from an auto parts store on a rental program, or you can purchase one of these for about $15. These are pretty handy if you ever work on some Fords and GMs. They don't have the flats on here to turn them on. I have it in park. Parking brake is set. Rear wheels are blocked. And I have it jacked up and on a jack stand. Okay, you need a 7/8 wrench or a 22 millimeter. And we're going to break this nut loose on here. And then we're going to remove the nut down here on the bottom of the knuckle. Okay, so this is a 18 millimeter here, and this is the factory one. Usually there's a hole with a cotter pin. This one just uses a nylock nut on here. This is a 8 millimeter, but it's pretty well damaged, so I took and put a wrench on here and locking pliers on here. Fortunately, it just popped right up. Now we'll go and we'll take our outer tie rod off. Since that nut is broke loose right there, we'll just go ahead and turn this off. Okay. I'm going to take a combination square and measure how deep this nut is, because I just backed it off like a quarter of a turn. That'll help us keep the alignment close. You'll still want to go ahead and have your alignment checked after this. Next we'll take 13 millimeter, put it on here. Now that we have that measurement, we'll go ahead and remove this nut here. It's a 24 millimeter. Now that that nut is off of there, we'll go and take this outer clamp off this boot and then slide that off. Okay, underneath here, in the steering rack here, there should be a clamp on here. Fortunately, this one's missing, so we'll just end up putting a worm clamp on there. Usually there's a clamp similar to like a PEX cinch clamp on there that you would have to cut off and replace it anyway. If you're doing the passenger side, there is a heat shield covering it up that you'll have to remove, and I think it's 10 millimeters, and you just need to remove one side and then you can bend it up to access that band clamp. Okay, it was a little stuck, but managed to get the little boot off here. Now we'll go and we'll put our removal tool on the end there and remove the inner tie rod. Okay, got my little removal tool on there. I'm going to put my extension on there. Go ahead and loosen that up. Okay, got that broke loose. Now we'll take and remove our inner tie rod here. Okay, I have our new tie rod here. I packed the end of it with some grease. On the old one here has a little collar. Take that off, place that on our new one. Then I'm going to take some Loctite, put it on the threads here before we screw it back in. Okay. Got that in there hand tight. I'm just going to go ahead and snug that up. There is a torque spec on there, but with this type of unit here to install it, the torque spec is off on that, so I just did it until it was a little more than snug, not overly tight. I'll take that off and we'll put our boot on. Okay, found a clamp for our little boot there. Gonna go and put our boot on here and then slide this end over the steering rack and then tighten that clamp up. And that slipped on there, I'm going to go underneath, tighten up that band clamp. Okay, then you'll pull the boot out until it locks in that little groove. And we'll take and put our clamp back on the outer part of the boot. Now with that clamp on, we'll go ahead, put our jam nut on the end here, and we had measured it with the combination square, and we'll put it to that depth. And we'll go ahead and install our new tie rod on the end here. Going to run it down to that nut, and then back it off that little bit. We'll put it in the knuckle here, and then we'll go ahead and put the nut on the bottom. This one has a castellated nut, so you have to have a cotter pin in there. So we'll go ahead and tighten that down. So you want to tighten that up as tight as you can where a hole lines up. Stick your cotter pin in there, then we're going to bend it over on the back side. Okay, hopefully the camera's picking this up. I do have it bent over on the back side. Okay, last thing we'll do is tighten up our little jam nut here. Okay, got the vehicle on the ground, got it off, now unblock the rear wheels, and we'll take the parking brake off and give her a test drive.